Hey, what's going on? My name is Bim, and this little thing is Huawei's latest mid-range smartphone, the Nova 3i. It came out about a week ago, so we were able to put it through its paces, more or less daily use, daily driver, that kind of thing. But before we go into what we actually think of it, let's talk about the specs a little bit. Maybe I should have prepared this beforehand. It's really warm, isn't it? I should have turned that thing on. Maybe I will. The dimensions are 157.6 by 75.2 by 7.6 millimeters, which is about 6.2 by 2.96 by 0.3 inches, which makes it bigger than the P20, slightly smaller than the iPhone 8 Plus and the Nokia 7 Plus. It weighs about 169 grams. It's lighter than both the Nova P20 and the iPhone 8 Plus. Resolution is 1080 by 2340 with PPI or pixels per inch? Yeah, pixels per inch. With pixels per inch of 409, which is higher than the P20 or the Nokia 7 Plus. It's being powered by the Kirin 710. It's an octa-core processor, 4 of them with 2.2 gigahertz and the other 4 with 1.7 gigahertz. With 4 gigs of RAM, the P20 has 6 gigs, just for comparison, with 128 gigabytes of storage. It's upgradable with a micro SD card up to 256 gigabytes. The card slot is actually a hybrid, so you can either put 2 SIM cards, I think it's nano SIMs, or 1 SIM and the other extension for your memory. The rear has 2 cameras. They're 16 megapixels each, I think, with an f-stop of 2.2. Now, unlike the P20, the P series for Huawei, the 2 cameras are both RGB, as opposed to one being monochrome and one being RGB. And the purpose of having 2 cameras and one is monochrome is the monochrome camera deals mainly with light. It doesn't care for what color things are. It just deals in light. So what it does is one camera takes a color image and the other camera takes light information and it combines it into one image with mixed information, which in theory should lead to a better quality photo. The camera on the 3i, however, are both RGB. What this does is it gives you stereoscopic vision, kind of like the way your eyes work, right? So if you close one eye, you can't really perceive depth. Like, there's some factoid I read months ago that if you actually lose one eye, you only lose about 30% of your vision, but 100% of your depth perception. So the camera here kind of works the same way. It's a depth thing. So what it does is it makes taking pictures with a blurred background possible. An LED flash, and it can do HDR and panorama shots. Film video at 1080p at 30 frames per second, which is kind of really what you need. It does feature a 3.75 millimeter jack. I'm super thankful for that because, yeah, I know Bluetooth is the future, but I just really like the convenience of having a jack there, just so it's, plug in and out, easy peasy. It does have a loudspeaker as well, which is kind of decent. So I was playing Netflix on it, and the sound was adequate. It's not loud or anything, but it's good enough for personal listening. Yeah, good enough to annoy people around you if you're like waiting in a hospital, lining up for the doctor and playing your music full blast. Loud enough for that. Wi-Fi is 802.11, which is kind of standard. Bluetooth 4.2. One drawback is that it actually connects via a micro USB, which is kind of old technology. Come on, Huawei, it's 2018. That's 2007 technology right there. Fingerprint sensor is on the back where it should be, where it's intuitive to actually lock and unlock your phone. It's just me, but I love it there. Battery life is at 3,340 milliamp hours. It does come with Android 8.1 with EMUI 8.2. When I first started using the EMUI interface on the P9, which is my daily driver, I kind of hated it So I swapped it out for some other default third-party default launcher, which is also kind of based off EMUI. But thankfully, they've made so many improvements with it that you wouldn't need to do that with the 3i. In terms of availability, it comes in pearl white, black, and that really nice blue to purple gradient that I think they call iris purple or something. And right off the bat, just from the looks of the phone, it doesn't look like a budget smartphone. It actually feels quite premium as well, and that's thanks to the aluminum body and glass back. Now, with it being a glass back, you would expect it to be kind of smudgy. It would be a major fingerprint magnet. But thankfully, while it does attract a lot of smudges, it doesn't really pop out, so it's not that obvious. But again, it will attract, especially if you have like oily fingers. And since it is glass, be careful not to drop it. You might crack it. It does come with a jelly case, which will protect your phone, but will diminish the premium feel of it, because the glass is really nice to touch. Like holding the phone is really, really nice. Putting this to protect it makes it feel cheap. But, you know, I'm pretty sure you'd want to protect your phone somehow. I just kind of want to point out that that NTC sticker, when you get it from the Philippines, it will have an NTC sticker, and it is ruining the look of the phone. I wish they could find another place to put it. I doubt it, because you can't really open the back. But, you know, it's there, and it's ugly. One of the interesting things that it does have is that notch right there. It's not something I particularly enjoy using. We all know why it's there, to maximize your real estate. People would get used to it eventually, but I'm just not a fan, or at least I'm not used to it just yet. But eventually, all phones are going to have this stupid notch until they figure out a way of embedding the cameras behind the display area, which may be a few years off. I don't know, but you could turn it off if you don't want it, which is another great thing. Like make everything just black up there, which is probably how I'm going to be rocking the phone. One of the major decision points in today's smartphone market is how well the camera performs. And thankfully, even for a budget smartphone, the Nova 3i's camera is really decent. It's pretty good. In good lighting conditions, outdoor, it performs really well. It has pro features if you want to kind of mess around with your settings a bit. It even has downloadable presets, and paired with the AI that it comes with, it automatically detects what you're taking a picture of, which I kind of find neat. It looks at what you're taking a picture of, and it sets the presets based on your downloaded presets. So for example, you're taking a picture of some food, the AI would automatically detect that it's food and automatically select the food preset. If you take a picture of your puppy, it then changes the preset to dog. It's neat. I find the presets for the pictures a little oversaturated, but you know, there are pro features that you can play around with the features anyway. Excuse me. In low light conditions, it turns out a little grainy and a little flat, but you know, it is what it is. I don't think any camera with this small a sensor can actually take magnificent low light shots. Another interesting feature are the dual front cameras. What the dual front camera allows for is, again, stereoscopic vision, which means if you take selfies, it can detect you and blur the background. It works in tandem with its AI, so it kind of figures out where you are and it blurs the background. You can do that with a dual camera. It also allows for the AI-enabled filters and stuff, the 3D Qmoji, that kind of thing. So the 3D Qmoji is it's kind of like the iPhone 10's like avatar thing, where you talk and it animates a little 3D head, which is really interesting. it's fun for the first few minutes. It's fun when you show it to someone and they have fun with it for a first few minutes, but it's a good proof of concept. I think that kind of technology can be used for other things which have a little more use, but right now that's what comes preloaded with the phone. You can do that Qmoji thing. It's kind of neat.
Hello, I am a rabbit. I'm a fucking rabbit.
One of the most impressive things that is in this phone is the background removal. Like, it knows where you are and it does its best to remove your background as if you were in front of a green screen, removing the background and adding like fun animations and stuff. And that's kind of impressive. I've seen high-end webcams from Logitech and whoever kind of struggle with that kind of thing. So I know it does it for just like a really short time and it's not that clear. Your cutout isn't that clean, but it's a good first step, right? So if it can remove your background, you could eventually use a phone as your webcam when you're streaming, which is pretty exciting. It's a really good feature. That's pretty impressive. In terms of responsiveness, the phone's pretty snappy, especially for a phone that costs this much. If a phone cost this much like 2 years ago, it wouldn't be a very pleasant experience. But with this phone, it's actually quite snappy. You can take a picture from a shut phone like this to snapping a picture in about 3.3 seconds. No, 3.37, so about 3.4 seconds, which is pretty decent. It's still pretty good. The iPhone 8, I think when we tested it, did about 2.7 seconds. So yeah, it's a little slower than the iPhone 8, but you know, that's also like × the price. For gaming, I was actually quite surprised for the gaming, because I was immediately thinking, okay, so it's got like a 710, right? That it wouldn't perform the way I'd like it to. So I downloaded a few games. I downloaded the mobile Tekken game and Pokemon Go and Mobile Legends. And to my surprise, the frame rates and responsiveness were pretty good. Like, kind of consistent, kind of good. I haven't tested out PUBG on it, unfortunately, or ROS. Because, and I don't know if it's the phone's fault or if it's our internet's fault or something, but every time I try to download these games, these big 1-point-something gigabyte games, it times out. It's probably our net. Our net's been sucky for the past few months. But yeah, so I haven't tested it out. I assume, just because those are really, really hard to run games, I would assume that they would run a little laggy. I would assume that there would be dropped frame rates. But again, I haven't tested. But the games that I did test it on, Mobile Legends, Tekken Mobile, Pokemon Go, frame rates were crisp and fast. So all in all, the Huawei Nova 3i is a lot of phone for your money. It feels great. It looks amazing. We got the black one, but we wish we could have gotten the blue and purple gradient, but they weren't selling where we got it. They gave those out to media. We didn't get any. So we actually bought this. So, you know, our money's on the line with this review. It feels great, looks great, works really well, very snappy. The front camera works well. There are some impressive things with the software, with the AI. So, you know, for 16,000 pesos, this is actually a really good deal. So if you find your way to a Huawei store, you know, might want to give this a look. All right, that's it for this mini review, I guess. So I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.